And we are live!
Hello, everyone. We're not dead. Surprise! This is actually the start of season 2 of the Ghoulfriends podcast, so welcome. Today we are starting it off strong with our thoughts, theories, and hopes for the future of Scream. So, as you guys know, the 5th Scream movie came out this past January, and there were lots of high hopes for it, and there are a lot of mixed feelings about it for like several different reasons. Alonna was awesome enough to go see it for a second time so that we could see it together, because I had been waiting for my oldest nephew, Joseph, to catch up and watch the first 4 Scream movies, and then we would go and see the 5th one in theaters, but he's still working on it, so I'll have to watch it with him another time. But yeah, so we went and we saw it. It was nice. There was no one in the theater. It was like a Wednesday in the middle of the day?
Yeah, it was like a Wednesday at like 4 p.m. and it was perfect. Honestly, when I went the first time, I went with my mom. Shout out Mama Sharon. And at that time too, like we went on a Tuesday night even, and it was us and one other guy, and the other guy didn't even stay for like the ending. Like he stayed till the climax and then he left. So it was just the two of us then too. So I was very shocked. I think it might be the area that it wasn't as well received because it kicked ass in the box office.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't pay attention to reviews. Like when Paranormal Activity, the very first one, came out, it got tons of shit reviews. But it, to this day, is one of my favorite horror movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first one and the second one are the best. I didn't see the last couple. I saw up to 4, so.
They're good. The newest one, what's it called? Like Hereditary or Kinship or something like that. It has to do with the Amish community. It's good. Oh, wow. It's interesting, but I'm just not sure how it ties in with the rest of the franchise. So they have yet to make that clear.
Right. Makes sense. I was going to put my Ghostface animatronic behind me, but, you know, I have some other stuff. I have an entire, like, speaker setup laying on the floor behind me, so I keep tripping over it, so I didn't want to trip over it with my animatronic. So no Ghostface today. He's in my window. Anyway.
He's watching out for you.
Yep. I'm just going to put this out there now. If you have not seen the new Scream, I recommend you click out until a later time, because, oh boy, there's going to be a bunch of spoilers.
Spoilers abound, my dudes.
Yes. So after seeing it twice, I can safely say that it is my favorite one in the franchise behind the original Scream that was released in 1996. You know, and that was a tough one to call because as much hate as it gets, I love Scream 3. It's honestly one of my favorites. Like, it's even over 2 for me. So for 5 to kind of take that role, I was very stunned, but I actually can say I enjoyed it.
So I love the first one, of course, all-time favorite. It's just, it was so good because it was like doing the same thing, you know, just slasher, kids dying, you know.
Not that we support that, but
no. But you know, in slasher movies, that's the recipe. But what the first Scream did that was so great is it was self-aware. Like it took the tropes and shit, and it worked with it. Like it didn't even just make fun of them, but it worked with them. And there was just something so charming about that, and all the characters. Especially like Randy, you know, he's the expert, so he knows all about it, and it's just,
we're like a modern day Randy.
What's that?
The two of us together, we're like a modern day Randy.
Yes, absolutely. But I would say after that, I actually really liked the second one because I liked how they were going. They're kind of playing off of the whole like, oh, it was your boyfriend last time, is it your boyfriend again? And then the reemergence of Cotton Weary, and it had a lot of really good suspects.
Right, it did. But you know, the thing I didn't like about 2 is it's not necessarily the climax I don't like. I don't like the theater scene where she sees Ghostface And then when Mickey has her convinced that it's Derek, and she just lets him shoot Derek, like Mickey gets inside her head, knowing that after these events, yes, she's going to be traumatized, but you would think she would kind of be like, ooh, is this guy, just trying to get inside my head? And that's kind of the thing I didn't like, is they kind of portrayed her as weak in that very moment. And we know she's not.
Right. But I think it kind of made her more human because, like, with the theater scene when all the actors are there with the masks and she sees Ghostface, you wonder, is it in her head? Because she's dealing with trauma of her own.
Right.
And I think that's why she started to doubt Derek.
Right.
And, I mean, how could she not after what she had been through? So, I don't know. I think it made her more human, which is nice. I liked that.
Agreed.
As for the newest one, I would say I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was obvious to me who one of the killers was. Like,
it was obvious right off the bat.
Yeah.
And, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you click out right now. Dewey knew it right from the beginning. He called it.
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to be her boyfriend.
See, I mean,
I didn't know it was going to be Amber.
Right. See, I kind of knew it was going to be Richie, and the only reason I knew that was because Dewey had that line. Had Dewey have not said that, I wouldn't have thought it was Richie. I honestly would have thought it would have been Wes. Or maybe even Chad, like, one of the Meats twins. But had Dewey have not said, oh, well, the significant other is always a suspect, then it clicked. I was like, okay, it's Richie. Like, I knew that the minute I saw that. I said, yeah, it's him.
See, and that's kind of funny because in the second one, they play off of that whole, like, oh, it was your boyfriend last time, is it again thing? And it wasn't. And then this time it's like, okay, well, we already played that trick.
Yeah.
So we won't do that again. And it's like, oh, nope, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So after scouring the internet, there is a bunch of theories. Spoiler alert, they kill off a character that I did not agree with. I loved him. And, they mentioned in the movie that he kind of died like a pussy. And no disrespect to the movie, but he kind of did. Like, I understand that in the original Scream, Wes Craven originally planned to kill Dewey off. I understand that was his plan all along. However, I think they could have killed him off in a better way because they made him look like an idiot the way they killed him off.
Yeah, but I mean, Dewey wasn't an idiot, but he was kind of airheaded a little.
Yeah,
he was goofy. Yeah, he was a silly dude, and that's why we love him.
Right, like for example, in Scream 2, when he's in the booth and he gets distracted because he steps in the pizza.
Right, yeah.
I love that.
He's all grossed out like, oh, I stepped in pizza. It's like, motherfucker, there's a murderer after you.
Right, I love that. But I think that they could have did his character a little bit better. Just based on the fact that he gets distracted by a phone call, which is in Dewey character. That is so Dewey.
Yes.
But like just the fact that they, and here I go, they don't confirm he's dead.
Yeah.
They really don't. All you see is a body bag being drugged out of the hospital. However, there was also a hospital cop that was murdered.
Right. Correct.
Just saying. It's the same thing with Stu. They never confirmed Stu was dead.
Right, and that's the thing. And you'll see in the fandom, a lot of people are like saying that, yes, it was Amber who actually killed Dewey, because there are people who think that it wasn't. And then people would say, oh, well, the person was too tall for it to be Amber. And then other people saying, like, oh, well, it's called a body double. It's like,
yeah.
With the Scream movies, everything is very particular. They don't do anything half-assed. It's all purposeful. Right. Everything has a purpose.
Right. And, in all of the Screams, you don't know that they're body doubles because the body doubles that they do have are about the same height or very close to the height as the people that they have doing the killings. For example, Steve Ulrich, in that scene with Jamie Kennedy when he's laying on the couch watching Halloween, that's actually Steve Ulrich that lifts his hands up over his head and gets distracted. Now, that's the only time he had the costume on, but however, his body double was very close to him in height. So you wouldn't have known the difference.
Right.
So, and, a lot of people were saying, oh, Dewey was lifted in the air. I think it was the angle they shot it at because he didn't look like he was lifted in the air to me. But I do agree with the fact that the person was clearly much taller than Amber. Amber's about my height, and I'm only 5'2", so she's about my stature.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm not saying it's not possible. Tatum says it in part 1, the killer could easily be female, and it's true, but it's just, I think that the body double that they had, I don't think it made it as believable that it was Amber. And it gives kind of that doorway open that, is it Stu? Because in Scream 3, the scrapped script was supposed to be Stu coming back and orchestrating the murders from prison.
Right. So the original canon is that Stu's not dead.
Right. Because they never confirmed it. And there was somebody just said in the fandom today, and I like this theory a lot, that, Gail left that camera in the living room in part 1, and maybe the paramedics felt a slight pulse on Stu after they lifted the TV off his head, and maybe he was like permanently deformed, like permanently fucked up. Mm-hmm. But you figure if he got 25 to life, it's not unbelievable that he would be out of prison either.
Right. Yeah.
And who else would have a bone to pick with Dewey, of all people? And the way that the Ghostface says it's an honor, because that to me kind of sounds like, well, we didn't finish you off in the beginning, so now I'm going to finish you off now. Because you figure Billy Loomis stabbed Dewey in the back in part 1, and Dewey didn't die. So maybe that was Stu's way of saying, well, I'm going to do what Billy couldn't do. And that's why he said it's an honor.
Right. Could be. And, I mean, it would be easy... I mean, not easy, but possible for Stu to get out, because it's been 25 years. So if he got 25 to life, he could have gotten out earlier, like at the 25-year mark.
And that's if he was in prison. He could have been in a mental hospital too.
Right. But even so, Billy was dead. So that Stu could have easily said, Billy made me do it. He tricked me. He threatened me. I was brainwashed. I was afraid for my own life. I only killed 2 people or 1 person, it's like without really there.
Yeah, or I only made these phone calls or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because technically speaking, Billy takes credit for almost all of it. The only time he throws Stu under the bus is when they mention Sydney's mother, and he says, we killed her. But did they really? Because we know Stu was the one who made the phone call to Sydney when she's at Tatum's house. We know that. Right. That's obvious. We know he's the one who attacked Sydney in her house, because Billy conveniently sneaks right in the window. But how do we know that he even, quote unquote, got his hands dirty? We don't know that. They don't say that. And just because Billy's saying that does not mean that's true.
Right. There has to be evidence. And in a case like that, it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You're wearing a mask, gloves. It'd be very hard to...
Voice changer, I mean... Yeah.
But also I wanted to touch on Dewey's death scene, the hospital scene. If it was Amber, and I'm all for... I am a petite woman, and I will try to grab as much shit as I can and carry as much as I can. And
likewise.
Right. To just prove, just because I'm small does not mean I can't hold my own. However, I don't think that a girl who is almost half my size would be able to... She didn't lift Dewey off the ground, but to hold someone,
Right.
Because when you get stabbed, your body is just going to drop.
Right. And it takes a lot of force to do that. Not only that, hold it up and then continue to drag it and then put another one in his back and drag that up. Yeah. That takes a fuckload of strength. I'm sorry. Right. I don't care if you're fucking Clark Gable or whatever. Yeah, Clark Gable. Oh my God, Clark Kent. Sorry. I was thinking
because especially Dewey, who is twice her size, if not more.
He's a retired cop. He's been stabbed 9 times, so clearly he's been through this.
Right.
So for her, that was very daring. So, and you can see it too. You can see it because even before Dewey dies, when Ghostface is standing in the hall, you could tell that body double is about 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Give or take about 6 foot tall. Just because even if she had boots on, whatever, when it gets down to stabbing him, when she gets back up, she's still taller than Dewey. She's towering over him. So Makes sense because Stu was taller.
Yes, he was.
Just saying. And I hate to jump on that bandwagon because those people get so much hate. I'm not saying that Stu's alive. I'm just saying it would kind of make sense if he was. And people saying, oh, well, it's been 25 years. Yeah, but they pulled a shit story about Sydney's long-lost brother out of their assholes. So, I mean, it's not...
And they made it work.
Yeah, it's not impossible. So, you know...
I just...
What I didn't like...
I feel like it's such a loose thread. And, you know, they do things so purposefully. Like, why would they just leave that loose thread blowing in the wind?
Right.
Makes no sense to me.
Exactly. And Wes Craven, before he died, may he rest in peace, he even confirmed that Stu did not die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he even said that. But, like I said, his idea had to be scrapped, unfortunately, because of Columbine, because it happened right before they were going into filming. So he had to change that whole script around when Stu orchestrating the murders, which is fine. I get that. But nobody ever said that he's dead, you know?
Right.
And another thing I want to talk about, I know it's supposed to be the way her character's played. I did not like the actress who played Sam. I'm sorry. Hate me all you want. I did not like her.
I thought she was okay. I think her strongest moment was at the end. I loved the end where she said, you know, don't fuck with the daughter of a serial killer. And then she stabbed him viciously, ferociously, like 30 times. That was amazing. I love the way that they did that. It was just, it really showed like her psyche and channeling Billy, you know, it was, I like that. I liked that a lot.
But what I didn't like was how when she's hallucinating Billy, she sees him as somebody he's not. And I understand that's kind of the point that like he's kind of trying to help her, but I get, you know, she didn't know him, but you figure her mother was remarried. She grew up with a stepfather, clearly. Why would you want to remember your serial killer father as a good man when clearly he wasn't? And clearly your grandmother wasn't either because your grandmother killed Randy in Scream 2. Sorry, but that's true.
I know, and to hell with anyone who kills Randy. That's just fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, Randy should have been protected at all costs. And I said it once, I'll say it again. That part in Scream where he's fighting for his life in the news van and those people just walk by and they're blaring their music. Like, I just want to punch all of them out.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could have saved Randy, but no, you're just, like, drumming on the fucking side of the news van.
Poor Randy.
Yeah. R.I.P. Randy. But, I mean, and it wasn't her, like, her character that I didn't like. I understand she's supposed to be mentally ill. I feel like what I feel like was the only time it was believable that she was Billy's daughter was at the end. Like, she didn't really show anything that made you believe, like, she wasn't, you know, she didn't have that mysterious charm like he did or any of that. The only thing that gave it away that she was even remotely similar to him was at the end when she's brutally stabbing Richie.
Right. Yeah, they could have used that. That would have been nice.
Right.
Because then it would also cause the audience to be like, wait, she's kind of really like Billy. Like, maybe it is her. And
right. Exactly.
Realize it.
Exactly. And, you know, I feel like they could have did so much more with that. Like, they could have been like, oh, if she's Billy's daughter, well, she is kind of acting like them. So, I mean, maybe it is her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they didn't really do that, you know? And I was just kind of disappointed in that. However, I will say this. I do not think that they killed off Stu's nephew for no reason. When they kill Vince outside the bar and they say Vince was Stu's nephew, I don't think they did that for no reason either, which again leads me to the point, maybe Stu is alive. Maybe. I'm not saying he is, but maybe.
I'm of the belief that he is. I think it makes sense. I think if Sydney had killed him, that they would have brought it up at some point. Just like in the second one, when she says to Mickey, there's something you forgot about Billy. I fucking killed him.
Right.
So we know, yes, Billy's, I mean, we saw him get a bullet in the head, but still,
well, yeah.
You know, there's that confirmation. With Stu, there is no confirmation. I mean, granted, there's no confirmation of like a court trial or anything either, but still, I mean, that leaves it open to either or. And it really would make more sense to me that Stu was behind these killings because it was legacy characters with new characters.
Right, and it was
Except for the killers. The killers are the only ones who aren't following that rule. How does that make sense?
And like I said, I'm sorry, the Dewey killing was personal. That was somebody who had a fucking bone to pick with him. Who else? Think about it, you know? I mean, yeah, Billy's dead. Who else would have a bone to pick with Dewey? Besides every other Ghostface. The only reason the other Ghostfaces had a bone to pick with Dewey was because he was there. That's the only reason. But Stu would have every reason because you figure Dewey was a deputy, you know? Dewey was on to Billy and Stu from the beginning when he first arrested Billy outside Sydney's house.
Right.
So, you know, Stu would have the motive to want to kill Dewey that personally.
Right.
Something
I didn't. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like I said, I don't think there is a scene outside of a bar where they kill off a young man named Vince, who you later find out is Stu's nephew. I don't think they did that for no reason. There is a reason for that, and I don't know why, but they're like, oh, well, you know, the killer's targeting the relatives of so-and-so, but they're really not, because Tara was not related to Billy Loomis. Only Sam is related to Billy, first of all. Second of all, the only other ones that are related are the twins, and they're only related to Randy because they're his niece and nephew. And then you have that Vince guy. The rest of them, they are in no way, shape, or form related to Billy or Stu.
Right. Or Gail or Sydney.
Or Julie, right.
And if it's killing legacy characters or new characters who are tied to legacy characters, why did they kill Deputy Judy and her son?
Right.
They weren't a part of the original, you know?
Right. Exactly. And that's another thing. People say it's impossible Stu's alive. If you watch Scream 4, we don't know Judy has a son until this new one. This is like a totally new thing that she has a son. We know she has the hots for Dewey, but we don't know she has a kid. So it's not impossible.
Right. Because they pull things out of left field, but it's things that it's like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that, or
yeah,
you know, just
that kind of works. Yeah.
Yeah. I see. Same they did with Roman.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they pulled him out of nowhere, but they made it make sense, and it made perfect sense.
Right, and they made it make sense in a way. And like I said, what I didn't like was you didn't believe Roman was the killer. You also didn't believe Billy or Stu were the killer. In part 2, you could kind of believe Mickey because you could kind of tell Mickey's not all there, like he's not okay. Yeah. But the Debbie Salt being Mrs. Loomis revealed, that came as a shock. But most of these killers, you wouldn't really suspect them. Now, Richie, like I said, the only way you would suspect him is after you hear Dewey's comment. Amber gave it away right off the bat, especially with that video. Yeah, that gave it away right off the bat.
Yeah, the moment I saw that, I was like, that's a little too convenient. Yep. And also just how controlling she was.
Yeah.
Like, what's her face? And knew about her inhalers and stuff. And I was super protective over her. Like, it was... Right. But then she's also not present for the rest of it. Like, how are you so involved with your friend, but then you're not around?
Right. So that's why I said, that's why, you know, it's kind of obvious. And that's the one thing I didn't like. Like I said, you know, it's kind of obvious right off the bat. Like, as soon as you see... you know, the killer stand outside Amber's window, you're like, okay, it's Amber. And then as soon as you hear Dewey make the comment about it's always a significant other, then you think, okay, it's Richie. And that just solves it. You're just waiting for them to confirm that. The problem, like I said, the problem I have is people saying Stu is not alive. But then why, like I said, Sam is the only one that's related to Billy. Tara has a different father. She is in no way, shape, or form related to Billy at all. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the Meats twins, you know, I thought Chad was dead at first.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, when he lives, you know, so that's possible because they're related to Randy. But the one that still stands out to me, like I said, is the Vince one. Because why would you mention, oh, his mother is Stu's sister? Like, why is that important? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Yep. And even when... Amber, she mentioned about when her parents first bought that house, and then she became obsessed. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I feel like if Stu was dead, she would have made mention of it somewhere else. Like, this is where they both died, you know,
Right.
or something, you know, and this was one of their houses, you know, just
yeah, like it would have been
kind of confirmation.
Yeah, something somewhere, you know, and you know, but another thing I don't like is they give Billy all the credit. Like Sydney's like, that's where Billy Loomis killed all of his friends. Like it wasn't just Billy. But that brings us back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Was Stu just an accomplice and he didn't really do anything except make the calls and he knew what Billy was doing, so he was terrified of Billy. There's a theory that Stu was in love with Billy. I don't believe that.
No, I don't either.
The only reason I don't believe it is because there's nothing whatsoever that indicates it. I think Stu was unhinged. I think Stu was neglected by his parents and was looking for attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he was in love with Billy. I also don't think he loved Tatum either. What I think he was in love with Sydney, and I think he was jealous that Billy had her and he didn't.
That's a possibility.
Because at the end of part 1, he goes, "I always had a thing for you, Sid."
Yeah, I always thought that was just him fucking with her, though.
Yeah, maybe, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, maybe he was fucking Maureen too. I mean, Cotton was, so maybe.
Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Although if he was, I think Billy would have killed him too.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Well,
anyone in connection with Maureen kind of gets fucked up.
But Billy does turn on him because if you listen to Stu at the end of part 1, he says, "You cut me too deep."
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could see that Billy turns on him too. So maybe, but the thing that stood out, and then we'll get back to the new one. But the thing that stood out, and I never noticed until recently, I just watched it again because I love 1996 Scream.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
But I didn't notice it until I kind of became more active in the fandom. When Billy says that Maureen is the reason why his parents split, and Stu looks so shocked.
Yeah.
I don't think Stu knew.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think he knew. I think he just thought, oh, okay, this sounds like fun. Let's make a movie.
Right, which makes me think that Stu is just a straight-up psychopath because that means he was just ready to do all this shit for the shits and giggles of it, you know? Because he didn't know that Billy had a motive.
Right. He didn't know, and they're watching all these movies, and maybe Billy said, let's make our own movie. And Stu was like, shit, I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They better bring him back. I want Stu back so bad.
What do you think about the ending of 2022 when Gail says she's going to write a book about Dewey?
I think it's sweet.
I think so too. And what I noticed, and I said it to my mom and I said it to you, the scene where Gail comes back to Woodsboro and confronts Dewey, it's almost like you're actually watching Courtney Cox and David Arquette and not Dewey and Gail.
Right.
Like,
it seems very personal, very close to their own lives.
Oh yeah, and you could just feel it. Like you just knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and she's like, but you're not a coward. That line almost made me cry, not even gonna lie. She's like, you are a lot of things, but you are not a coward. I was like, oh. Dewey's not a coward, because he's not. He's really not.
No, he's not. Like, he's silly, but he's not an idiot. He's not a coward,
Right, and he put himself in harm's way 4 times just to protect people. Like, I mean, who does that?
He didn't have to.
Right, like, part 1 I get because, his sister and everything, but, like, he went to Windsor College to check on Sydney. He didn't have to. He was in California with Jennifer. He didn't have to do any of that in, part 3. And then part 4, he's the sheriff. So, yeah, that's kind of his job, but he didn't have to put himself in harm's way to do it.
Right.
Right. I love Dewey.
What a
R.I.P.
Yeah, rip Dewey.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I definitely believe that there's going to be more. I think they're trying to set it up, the whole legacy and new character thing, and the monologue that the killers went off on the end. In the end, Tari, do you mind? Thank you. I think they're trying to set it up so that there's not just one more movie, but probably like several more.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's like they introduced us to these characters, they're related to the original ones, And I don't know how I feel about that, because you're never going to recapture the greatness of the first one. I mean, they did a great job with 2 and 3. 4 was all right. 5, I'm okay with.
Right.
But I mean, you're never going to recapture that, and you have to make these characters super lovable, like you did with Sydney, Gail, Dewey, and Randy.
Right. Exactly. You know, because they're the characters you love to see. And Nev Campbell said she won't return if they kill off Sydney. So I feel like eventually they're going to have to. You know, they're going to have to kill off Gail and Sydney eventually.
Right.
However, what I will say, you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Scream 4, but for me it's the nostalgia knowing it was Wes Craven's last movie.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't like the opening. Now, the ending was kind of okay, but that was kind of another one where you kind of suspect the cousin all along. Now, Charlie, I didn't see that coming, though.
No, me either.
I did not see that coming. Jill, I kind of saw that coming because, you know, she was like up Sydney's ass and she hated her, then she loved her, then she hated her, then she loved her. So you kind of saw that coming. I did not expect Charlie, though.
No, me either.
And people said, you know, him and Kirby aren't really dead. Now, if you caught in 5, when Richie is watching the trailer for the new Stab, excuse me, there is an interview on the side where it says interview with Woodsboro survivor Kirby Reed.
Really?
Yes. So that's an Easter egg. They confirmed Kirby's alive. However,
I love Kirby. I love her.
Yo, I know. I love when she's like rambling off the movies at the end. I'm like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, they don't confirm Charlie's dead. And they're like, oh, he was stabbed in the heart. But was he? He was stabbed in the chest, not necessarily the heart.
Right. And I mean, if people can survive, like there are soldiers who have survived being shot in the head. Like,
yeah. People survive shooting themselves in the head, you know, getting shot, blah, 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 blah. I mean, for fuck's sake, Dewey was stabbed 9 times. Sydney was stabbed how many times? Gail was shot how many times, and they still lived. So it's not unlikely that, you know, Charlie would still be alive. Also, 4 is the one that almost Jill is the only Ghostface that almost succeeds in killing Sydney, too.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is interesting. She is the only one that almost succeeds.
I think it's because she's family.
Yeah.
So it's get that close.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, I'm kidding. But what I would like to see Kirby in another one. Now I know Hayden Panettiere quit acting in 2018. However,
oh, did she really?
Yeah, but you know, going to Halloween Kills, Charles Cyphers quit acting in 1985, and he came back for Halloween Kills. So I imagine if the script is right, and you know, of course, if the price is right, she'll come back.
Right, and I mean, I don't know, but I would think that, you know, being on the set of a Scream movie would be tons of fun.
Oh yeah, I mean,
know?
I think it would be personally. I think it would be.
Yeah, Hayden, please come back. We love you.
Yeah.
Kirby's such a strong, awesome, kick-ass female lead. I love her.
Oh my god, she is. She's awesome. I mean, and you know, and you see it in My Soul to Take too. As Wes got older, his writing was kind of starting to dwindle because you see it in Scream 4 too. Like the script is okay, but the casting was top notch. Yeah. Like Rory Culkin as Charlie, he's perfect. I don't know why he is, but he is perfect for Charlie.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I really don't know why, but he is. You know, Emma Roberts for Jill, I don't know why she's perfect, but she is.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, where he's lacking in writing, he kind of made up for it with the cast.
Yeah. Agreed. I just hope if they do continue to go forward, they focus more on the characters and building them up so that we get attached to them. Because that's the whole thing. You got to get, once you get attached to characters, then you're immersed in it. Then you're invested in it. And then you have to see what happens next. So if they're going to go forward, like, they really got to work on that. Because I didn't feel any kind of attachment to Sam or her sister. Like, stop biting the cord. You know, I didn't feel like a lot of attachment towards them. I like the twins. I thought they had a lot of character.
Yeah. I liked Wes. I really did.
I was just going to say, I liked Wes. He was an interesting character. He was so sweet, like setting the table for him and his mom to have
Oh my
pizza.
God, I know. That was so sad. He had no idea either. That's what was sad. But the thing that bugged me was, how did he not see that out the window? If he was laying on the front lawn and he's approaching the front door, you would have thought he would have seen it out the window, maybe.
Right, or even if Ghostface had moved the body, there'd still be a gigantic blood stain on the pavement in the middle of broad daylight.
Right. So you would think, I mean, I don't know. That whole scene was just so sad. So sad.
It was.
I think that one was Amber too, because Richie goes, wait, you can do that? Like, you can kill the sheriff? Richie, to me, Richie was kind of like Stu. Like, he kind of didn't know what was going on. He was kind of just along for the ride.
I feel like they both were like that, though. Which is why I think there's a third, maybe not even a killer, but like a mastermind, like Stu. And, you know, that was pulling all the strings because, yeah, they had their reasoning for it, but the way that they delivered it, it reminded me so much of Mickey's monologue when he's talking about, you know, it's all about the murder trial and all that shit.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And so it just felt not very solid.
Right. You know, and I don't know. There's a lot of things that I could say I liked and didn't like, but the number one thing that I thought was awesome was, and this was confirmed by the directors, Sydney's married to Mark Kincaid.
Aw, yay.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. What I don't agree with is people saying that the new Scream should open with Ghostface killing Mark and her 2 daughters. No, leave Mark and Sydney's kids out of it. God damn it.
Right, and I mean, if you do that, then it's like
it's focusing
to come back every single time, every single movie, because she's going to have a vendetta.
Right, and you know, then it's focusing the story more on her again, and they're kind of trying to shift away from that. Like, yeah, she's there to help, but it's no longer her story. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think that would be a good opening. And then they said how you should kill off Martha Meeks, but it's really not her story either. It's Tara and Sam's story. It has, I mean, yeah, Mindy and Chad survived by some miracle, but it's not really their story either, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that either.
Question.
Sure.
Chad's girlfriend with the pink hair, what was her name?
Liv.
What happened to her?
Oh yeah, it was a split second. So she says to Amber, she says to Amber, I'm not the killer. And Amber says, I know. And Amber shoots her.
Oh, that's right. She shot her in the head. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That was another one that was kind of disappointing. Like, she didn't get a proper send-off either.
Yeah.
If there is a proper way to kill somebody, I wouldn't know. But, you know, I just feel like they could have did Dewey and Liv more justice. Like, but what I will say, and I said it to my mom in the theater, the scene with Vince, that reminded me of Christine with the car and the car revving up. That reminded me of Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little homage.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, maybe it's because I've seen the first one so many times and all the other ones, but excuse me, I want to say, even just from the first movie, the way it's written, you get very attached to the characters
right off the bat,
very quickly.
Right.
You know who they are. You know what their personality is like.
You know,
and how they're bonded together.
Right. You know some of their backstory. Like, you know, Billy's parents were divorced. You know, Sydney's mother was murdered. Like, we already know all of this.
Right. We know Tatum is like a head bitch in charge type, but she's also funny and sassy, and she's so supportive of Sid.
Yeah.
You know, and then you see little bits and pieces of her and Stu's relationship, and just with all the characters. And Randy, you don't see him very much, but when you do, it's like he's so Randy.
Right.
You know, I didn't feel any of that with most of these characters this time around.
I didn't really feel anything for any of them, as terrible as it is. Wes, yes. I love Wes. Even Judy, like, I didn't like her in Scream 4, but I liked her in this one. Like, she kind of redeemed herself a little bit. And I think it was this scene, like, showing how much she cared for her son that kind of did it for me. But no, I agree with that, and my favorite line from Tatum will always be, "Oh, at the video store, I thought they fired your sorry ass." And Randy just goes twice. And I'm like, yo, like, see, but speaking of like characters you can relate to, and I will beat this series to death until Netflix takes it off, so sue me. Hemlock Grove is the same way. You get attached to those characters right away, and that's how you know that a movie is being written very well. And I agree with you. I don't really feel much for too many of these characters except Wes and a little bit Judy, just because you can see how much she truly cares for her son.
Mhm.
And in a way, she was kind of like, take me but leave him alone. And that kind of reminded me of Halloween 4, when Loomis confronts Michael at the gas station and he says, if you want another victim, take me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, with that, just those two lines, that small exchange of two lines. The video store, I thought they fired your sorry ass. They did twice. That says so much about both of those characters.
Right.
That little bit, and it makes the question like, he was fired twice? Why? What?
Right. Not only that, then you see Randy flipping out in the middle of the video store and he's like, everybody's a suspect, and you're kind of like, oh, that's why you got fired.
Right. But it's just these little instances, these little things that can make characters so real.
Right.
And you get attached to them. And maybe it's because I'm a writer, I'm just a whore for good characters.
Me too.
Character writing, because you can have a banger of a story, but if your characters are flat and they're not dynamic at all and I can't relate to them.
Right.
And that's not to say like I don't feel represented. It's like, no, just like on a human level, like,
right,
relate to them.
And I see a lot of people getting a lot of shit for it. I think that was kind of my problem with Sam. And it's not just Sam. I can't really, relate to any of them. I think they're all kind of flat. You know what I mean? It's not just her. I understand she's supposed to be like mentally ill, but it's not just her. Even as much as I love him, God forgive me, Skeet was even weak. I'm sorry, he was. And I don't like, he didn't age that terribly. He still looks fucking amazing. Oh my God, I will marry that man one day. I don't care if his kids are my age. I don't care. It's fine. Anyway,
gorgeous.
He is. And I don't think they needed to de-age him that much and CGI him.
No. And like, I don't think they did. Because they didn't need to, for sure.
Right. But even his character wasn't that believable. Like, yeah, he's supposed to be dead. He's supposed to be like a hallucination or a spirit. But like, when he's like, cut some fucking throats, like that is so not something Billy would say. I'm sorry, it's not. That is so not Billy.
No, I could, but it's her interpretation of him.
Right.
And all she knows about him is that he was a crazy fucking serial killer.
True. So, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of, he was kind of weak. And that was a disappointment because I was so shocked. Like, okay, one of my friends, not even gonna lie, Gus kind of spoiled it for me because he sent me a picture of Billy before I saw the movie. And I was like, I don't want to know anymore. And he's like, well, Billy's back. And I was like, what do you mean Billy's back? So I kind of knew about that, but I didn't know to the extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. All in all, like I said, I still think it was my favorite behind 1996, and that's only because I have some qualms about the climax of Scream 2. Scream 4, again, writing was weak, casting was great, and it's Wes's last movie, so unfortunately it's last on my list, but I don't hate it either. I also don't hate Scream 3, and a lot of people hate 3. I thought that 3 took an interesting new approach, like that it's on a movie set, and he's going after Cotton, and Cotton's actually protecting Sidney because he knows where he is, and he's not telling Ghostface, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, definitely, and the fact that once again they were very self-aware, the rules of trilogies, that Randy mapped out, and
he's like, the hero is always superhuman, and of course Roman had a bulletproof vest on.
Mm-hmm. And the past always comes back. The past being Roman's your bro. Not your bro, but your bro. And, he's the one that influenced Billy and Stu.
Right. And he, was the mastermind behind that. And he was like,
Right.
all it took was a little pointers. And I mean, but here's my thing. It wasn't just Maureen's fault. It was kind of Billy's father too. So I kind of wonder, you don't see Hank after the first stream. Did Billy kill him too?
I don't know.
Because there's no mention of him ever again.
I mean, why would there be, I guess?
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's kind of important because he was the reason why Mrs. Loomis or Debbie Salt moved out in the first place. So you kind of wonder if Billy was blaming Maureen, did he also blame his father? Because it takes two to tango here, so.
Right, you'd think. I just had a revelation that I'm just so much into, like, Stu is live. He's here.
I feel him inside me. Okay, I'm sorry. Even Matt Lillard confirmed it. He's like, I saw his interview with Steve. He's like, I'll go throw a TV on my head right now.
Right.
He's right. He's right. Anybody who grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, those TVs, they sometimes would accidentally fall. And yeah, they would hurt like a bitch, but a lot of people are still alive to tell the tale.
Right.
And they're like, oh, he was stabbed multiple times. Yeah, but again,
so was Dewey.
So was Dewey. So was Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's impossible. And I think my favorite theory was one that I saw a while ago before I even saw the new Scream, and it kind of makes me chuckle. And it's like, imagine after the events of Scream, Stu changed his name to Shaggy, moved to Toolsville, got a dog, and ended up solving mysteries to keep the cops off his radar.
Right.
I mean, now that would be a hell of a movie. I would love to see that.
Well, I'm thinking now, I had this revelation just now so we find out that Roman was guiding and influencing Billy and Stu.
Right.
So who's to say that Stu didn't take up that torch and was guiding and influencing Richie and Amber?
Right. Because remember, Amber says, well, they're passing the torch, or time to pass the torch. Like,
right.
That's another thing. We don't talk about, okay, so we're quick to say, oh yeah, Stu's dead. We don't talk about how Amber was still alive after being fucking burned alive.
Yeah.
So
and hit in the face with a bottle, and I think she might have been stabbed too.
Yeah, she was shot. She had alcohol all over her face and her eyes, and then she was set on fire, and she still lived. But no, because a 1996 TV fell on Stu, it's impossible. He's alive. Are you serious?
We'll just have to see. I was really disappointed when he didn't show up in this one, but maybe.
But he did make a cameo.
Yeah, and I think Randy did too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the one who says someone's goofy ass dad's kicking us out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but just that line in itself, that is so Randy.
Yeah.
Like, that is so Randy. Like, someone's goofy ass dad's kicking us out. Yeah. It's kind of funny because I love how Richie addresses the party. He's like, hello, Gen Z.
Right.
And we're like, what the fuck? Like, bro, you're not even that much older than these kids. You're like, hello, Gen Z.
Hello, youngins.
Yeah. Yo, I have to say, though, and, I love Roger L. Jackson. His Ghostface sounded different this time around. And maybe it's because he's getting older, but he sounded more human, and he wasn't as creepy as in the other movies. However, what I did like was, I love when Sydney hangs up on Ghostface. She says, I'm bored. And Ghostface just says, wait, what? And then she hangs up. Yeah. And then fucking when she shoots the door and Richard says, holy shit, it's Ghostface. I love that too. No shit, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those little moments. And it's funny to just watch these movies, especially with a fellow fan, like how we were watching it. And, we've had this conversation multiple times on, like, if the serial killer is harassing you like this, or, like Michael Myers or whatever, just Home Alone their asses.
Yeah.
Like, they call you on the phone, what's your favorite scary movie? Macaulay Culkin in the basement with the furnace? Shut up! And then just click.
Yeah, right?
They come in your house, paint cans over the stair banister. Just
just be fucking prepared. Here's another thing. and then I'm gonna go because I have my hot wings waiting downstairs. Here's another thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the first stream, when they talk about, people always running up the stairs and they should be running up the front door. First of all, Sydney does that. But second of all, right, I fucking love, like, how at the end of every stream, for some reason, or not even at the end, because you see it in the middle in part 2, and then at the end in part 3, and then at the middle in part 4. Why is there always a party when there's a fucking masked psychopath on the loose? Why?
It is a
Why is it a thing?
It's a horror movie trope, man. It's got to be in there.
Like, why is it a thing? Although I did love their on-screen toast to Wes, because I read that was actually to Wes Craven.
Right.
Yeah, so that was really cool too. But I loved Matt's cameo when he's just like the ghost face with the flames. He just has a flamethrower. He's just, this shit's lit. I fucking love that. He's just like, shit's lit. But, if he came back and made a voice cameo again, they brought Steve back and they CGI'd his ass 9 Ways to Sunday, which I said they could have just left him alone, because it still would have been believable that, maybe he wasn't as young, but she wouldn't have remembered him as young. She would have just, imagined him as whatever. Because she never met him. So it would have been believable even if they went to CGI'd him and left him, looking how he does now. Because he don't look like he's 52. He looks like he's like maybe in his late 30s. So that would have still been believable.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's because, it's possible she found out who her father was and then she Googled him. And maybe one of the pictures that she found was him that night when he died. Because in her visions, he's wearing that white t-shirt with the fake bloodstains all over it.
True. That's true. Another one I liked was when I forget who he says it to. I think he says it to Wes. When Dewey says to Wes, "You must be the killer," does that cut deep?
Oh yeah, that was so good.
Again, like so Dewey. Like he was like Wes is like, "You lost your wife and crawled into a bottle," and then Dewey's like, "You must be the killer," because that cut deep.
That's what I love about these movies is they're little bits of comedy, just here and there. You don't expect it, just hits you, and it's
yeah. Yo, and then just because that guy showered does not mean he should have a gun. I love that.
Right.
Yeah. Just because that guy showered does not mean he should have a gun. But the saddest moment was when he was texting Gail and he went to type, "I still love you."
Yeah, and he stopped.
And then, in his dying moments, she was calling him and he smiled when he saw her. I was like, aww.
Yeah.
Dewey.
Oh well, maybe he's still alive.
Maybe. Probably not. Probably not, though. I don't know how he would survive that. Something fell out of him when she stabbed him. I don't know what it was, but something fell out. I don't know if it's vital. Yeah, it was some kind of organ. I don't know what it was, but something fucking fell out, and they don't show it long enough for you to see what it was, but something fell out. So I doubt he's alive. And
honestly, like, as much as it's like, oh, I don't want Dewey to be dead, it makes sense that they would have to kill off a legacy character.
Right. Right, because she's like, our movie has fucking stakes. Well, not necessarily, but it made sense because, at the end, Dewey was supposed to die at the end of part 1, and Wes Craven tested him with audiences. Audience loved him, and Wes was like, okay, never mind, Dewey can live.
Yeah.
So, there we go. That's better. Now I don't look like I'm all, like, light. But anyway, that is all I have for tonight. I am going downstairs to eat my hot wings from Sisters. If you are in the Tamako-Coaldale area, I highly recommend Sisters Cantina. Their salsa, their wings, bomb!
Fun fact, I was supposed to go get those for Sean, and I forgot. I'm a bad girlfriend.
Oh my goodness. I was down your way today, too.
Oh,
I went to pick up my wings.
See, if I'd gone, maybe I would have run into you.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, this has been another conclusion of Ghoulfriends. Let us know in the comments what you want us to dissect. Maybe we'll have to do one on the entire Scream franchise because that could go on for hours about Scream 3 and 4, also Scream 2, but mostly 3 and 4, and mostly how I feel that the writing was lacking in 4 and why I like 3 so much. In addition to that, April 23rd, we will be having our 3rd anniversary show at Encore Studios in Archbald. And we have the Misos, PHL, PHR. I am so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce it. Stay Loud, Gus the Savage, 570, Main the Medicine, and Blind Choice closing out the night. In addition to that, it is sponsored by Clausen's T9s with Class, Not Punk, and all proceeds will benefit the Lehigh Animal Hospital and the Carbon County Animal Shelter. So come out and here's some good fucking music for a great cause and get some Not Punk merch.
That's right. And seriously, it's a whole bunch of really good bands for $10. Like, that's insane. That's so good.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You got food and drinks, and I'll be there slinging my merch, so.
I'll be there. I don't know what color my hair will be yet, but I'll be there. Yeah, and again, the lineup is the Misos, 570, Gus the Savage, Main the Medicine, PHL, PHR. I think it's Filfer, but I could be wrong. So I'm not going to. Stay Loud and Blind Choice. And we will have Not Punked there. And we have a special guest during Gus and Main the Medicine set. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that one. So come on out. Tickets are only $10. You can find them anywhere or hit me up. I have physical tickets. Let's sell this place out for the doggies.
Yes. For the critters.
Yeah, I love animals more than people. Anyway. Anyway, this has been Ghoulfriends. Let us know what you want us to talk about next time, and I promise we will not disappear again. Now that we're doing season 2, Jamie has a Netflix show to watch, so we can talk about that too.
I am almost finished with season 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. So
and Alonna is watching Yellow Jackets, which, I love. So we're going to have to talk about that as well.
So we will have an episode on Hemlock Grove and Yellow Jackets.
Yes.
So
because I have lots of theories about Yellow Jackets.
I was going to ask you what you think of Hemlock Grove, but I'm not going to. We'll save it for the episode.
Okay. Sounds good.
I do have to say, I love Peter. Anyway, that's all. Yes. And I at some points I hate Roman, but I feel bad for him. So
he's a complicated character.
He really is, but Bill plays him amazing. So like I said, and I showed it to my friend last night too, and I was like, you kind of hate him, but then you kind of like him, but then you kind of see what his mother's like, so you kind of feel bad for him, but then you hate him again, and you're like, what's going on?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, catch us next time on Ghoulfriends. Let us know what you want to hear.
Yes, and see you guys next time. Stay safe.
Stay safe, and stay fucking spooky. Yeah.